Hi, Doug Pelton from The Frame Up. Today we're going to talk about trimming out the side curtain box. You've got four different pieces that you want to pre-fit. You've got the box top, the side curtain door, and the right and left fillets. To start with, you're going to have your box top, and just to show you the back side of this, because it's a little bit complex, you can make this, but it's got a stiffener on the back side. But get this fit in the top first, and then the next item is the side fillets. Now these, you can purchase these, and they come in kind of a stock dimension. The problem is that a lot of times the wheel arch is not always a universal or a consistent dimension. So you may have to hand fit these a little bit. For the fit, you want to have this to where it matches the contour of the wheel arch. And then the next question is, where do you fasten all of these together with your screws? A common error is that the box top, I see this a lot where it's drilled through the top of the box top into the side of the side curtain box itself. But at the factory, they actually put the screw in the very forward edge of the box top into the center of the fillet. And so you can see once that's anchored down, this can't move because it's got the tab in the back, and it also keeps the fillet from rotating this way in and out. So that's the configuration for the screw, one in the top, and then for the fillets you're going to have just two, and you want to pre-drill those and recess the heads, so when you cover the wood pieces with your material, that all gets finished out. The last item is your door, your side curtain door. You want to pre-fit that to allow enough room for the material. You want to have, you're going to have at least a couple thicknesses of material, a little bit of a gap. And then you also will have some hinges. We'll show you later. The hinges go in the bottom, which will affect the dimension of the door as well. Just a quick note before you actually enclose the side curtain box with the covered panels. Let's talk about the interior black felt itself and the best way to install. You've got a piece of felt on each side. And so go ahead and use your contact cement, pre-cut the side panels here, and then glue them in place. That way if it drips or whatever, it's not a problem because this is all going to be covered internally anyways. Once you get both the right and the left panel installed, then take your overall felt material and start at the top and the back. You can even leave it just a little bit long, maybe a quarter, half-inch, but start here and then work your way down. You can use like a putty knife or a ruler to kind of work it down to get all of the bubbles out of it, and work it all the way to the bottom. At the bottom of the side curtain box, you've got a reinforcement stiffener piece of wood down here. Set it there, wrap it around, and then you're going to come back up the forward edge of the box itself. You should have a little bit of excess, and then trim it off. I want to share a tip on how to finish out the corners on the side curtain door. The first step is to find yourself a piece of scrap, and you can take the wood. I just have an extra piece of wood here to illustrate, and what we want to do is cut a relief line that is parallel to the edge of the wood, and then cut another relief line that is the same thickness or dimension as the thickness of the wood itself. And this will allow us to give a nice finished edge on the vinyl itself. The first step is to wrap this one edge over. I'm going to fold this back so you can see what's happening. Then we have this tab that we're going to fold in. And of course this is all going to be glued, so it'll stick. But for now I have to hold it with my finger. And then the next step is to take this material and fold up and across. And this would be pulled tight. And then this is the final step, overlapping on the corner. And then once that's all glued down, you would take your knife and just cut a nice 45-degree angle across here, which will allow the, and of course this isn't exactly 45 because I'm kind of rushing it here, but this will give you a final trimmed area. Part of the fun of doing some of the restoration work is actually taking a look at the originality aspects of the car. Here we have an original side curtain cover, and it's interesting to note some of the features of it. First of all, the hinges themselves, you can see how they're installed on the wood deck that covers the differential. It's a basic hinge that's 1.5 inches long, and the hinge is visible on the deck board, but it's covered with the vinyl or the Rexine in this manner, and you can see the spacing is pretty much just in half. If you divide this in half, the spacings of the hinges pretty much symmetric in that respect. The other part is this particular side curtain door tab is fastened with two flathead screws with a finish washer, and then a single button tab that folds over the top. This was a little bit different than the early tabs, which had the 10X tab. This is a snap, but the 10X has a stud that screws into the top of the side curtain box, and it snaps in here. The problem with the 10X is that when you have the hood of the car down and you have your clear window in the back, that's on this button, and it damages it. So this was okay for the early cars that had the split hood, but this was replaced on the later cars with the single low profile tab. Now on the inside of the original side curtain box, you can see the materials folded over about 1 inch, and then you had the black binding, and the real interesting feature is the corners where the binding was folded to a 45-degree miter during the install, and you've got small nails holding the binding in place about every 3 inches or so. So what we're doing with today's install is replicating what was original. So we folded the red material over, and then we've glued the black felt on the interior, and then we've got the binding around, and you can see the corner how we've replicated the fold, and we've got our spacing for the nails. And I want to come down here and just show you how we do the fold. It's pretty basic, but we'll go through it here for a second. The first thing you do is decide where you want this to come back. You're just going to fold this 90 degrees. So the next line, we're going to bring that down to cover and give us a finished edge. So we're going to fold this down and press it down to get kind of a crease. And then we're just going to put your finger there and just fold it 90 degrees, or I'm sorry, 45 degrees. And then continue down. And that is how you establish, the corner. And then you're just going to take and put a tack in here and set the nail. And now we have that corner finished, and then we can continue down and finish the rest. We're just about ready to install the side curtain components here. The vinyl's been glued, and I want to take a second to just show you how it played out on the back of the fillets. You can see we wrapped around the edge, stapled it, but whenever you have a radius, just go ahead and cut your relief lines back to the edge. That allows you to pull it tight and avoid any bubbles, and gives you a nice finished edge. Also for the box top, just a quick look as to how we did ours, using the glue to pull it across in place, and then a few real short staples to tack it down to give you some longevity. Now, once you get that done, you'll also want to go back and relocate the holes that you had previously drilled. And so if you just run your finger down here, you'll find the hole, and you can see a recess, and then just with an awl or something, just go ahead and open that up. For the screw set that we fasten everything with, we've got a finish washer without a flange. It's kind of like an ice cream cone, and then the screws are as original, slotted. There's no Phillips on the TC, and it's an oval head screw that gives you a nice finish once it's installed. We've got the box top and the fillets installed with our hardware set. The next step is to locate and install the side curtain door itself. One quick note: make sure your deck lid is fastened down with the two fasteners on each side, because it is possible to have this rotated 180 degrees out in installing the door, only to find out that your holes don't line up. So have this in place. Then set your side curtain door within the opening here, center it, locate it, and then sink your screws for the hinges into the deck lid. Once that's finalized, then you can locate the tab. Now we have this installed, but because we're finished. Once you do your door, you want to find the center of the side curtain box top, and then put in your stud for your fastener. And then only when you get the stud located, then snap your stud. These screws are not in here. Fold this over, and then locate where you want to put your screws. And that'll give you a nice finish, so it's not sloppy, it's not too tight, not too loose. It'll be a custom fit exactly where the door is located. Now, when you get ready to do your interior, you're probably going to need some hardware, and we have a full set of everything that you need for the interior trim install. It includes all of the screws, the hinges, all of the hardware, nails, etc. So this is just one of the 200 fastener sets we have for the TC. Very handy, and it makes your job very simple.